Secretary Ramon M. Lopez, Secretary Alfredo E. Pascual, members of the DTI Executive Committee, and heads of attached agencies and corporations in attendance, and to the rest of our DTI family, from the head office, regional and provincial offices, attached agencies, corporations, and instrumentalities, and to our commercial attachés and special trade representatives scattered around the globe, joining us live via Zoom. A warm good morning to you all. My name is Don Melendez from the DTI Office of the Undersecretary for Management Services.
And I am Leila Meram from the Public Relations Unit.
And we are honored to be your MCs for this momentous occasion. Today we will bear witness to the turnover of the Department of Trade and Industry, an institution that takes pride in being led by individuals with undeniable competence and unimpeachable characters.
And this is why we celebrate this special occasion from one remarkable individual to another, both of whom are respected in their several industries and sectors. We are ready to welcome DTI's next chapter.
So without further ado, we request everyone to rise for the invocation to be led by Undersecretary Blasila Lantayona. This will be followed by the singing of National Anthem to be sung by our homegrown talents, the DTI Choir.
Almighty Father, we thank you for the privilege of coming together today on this historic and solemn occasion. We thank you for the gracious hand that protects us every day. We ask you to bless our work and grant us the strength and wisdom to carry on with our tasks. As we witness the passing of the baton on this memorable day, we lift to you our agency and our people, most especially the two leaders, one outgoing and one incoming. Lord, go with Secretary Ramon Lopez as he starts a new chapter of his life. Watch over him and his loved ones. DTI will forever be grateful to this man who led us by example, inspired collaborators, and nurtured his people. Be with Secretary Alfredo Pascual, O God, as he assumes command of this great organization. Continue to guide him, give him the grace of leadership and good health to pursue his mission. Under his watch, let every member of the DTI team find satisfaction in the work that they do for our country and our people. May his guidance, your guidance, O Lord, continue to unite the men and women of the Department of Trade and Industry in the spirit of service and camaraderie. All this we ask in your powerful name. Amen.
Bayang mahirap, sa silamanan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang binirang, dulot pa ng magiting, sa manluluging, ikaw masisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simulit, sa langit mong magaw, may nilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawag mo'y may nanagtitindig, ang bituin at araw na kailan, ang may limang didilim, lupa ng araw ng walhangin pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng may mga apil, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you, Yusek Bless and the DTI Choir. Everyone, you may now take your seats. To formally open our program, we have with us one of the department's most battle-tested officials. He is an expert in everything finance, admin, and procurement, and has served as the Chief of Staff of Secretary Lopez since the start of the pandemic.
Here to welcome us, ladies and gentlemen, Please give a big round of applause to Undersecretary Ireneo Boy Vismonte.
Secretary Ramon M. Lopez, Secretary Alfredo E. Pascual, officials and staff from the DTI Head Office, DTI Regional and Provincial Offices, hello, and the Foreign Trade Service Corps, officials and staff of attached agencies, corporations, and instrumentalities. A pleasant afternoon to you all. Service to the People by Roberto Ongpin. Yes, the Filipino Can by Jose A. Concepcion Jr. Efficient and Fair Trade Domestic Trade System by Peter D. Garucho. Magna Carta for MSMEs by Lilia R. Bautista. Move People to Win by Rizalino S. Navarro. Leapfrogging to Prosperity Through Competitiveness by Cesar Bautista. Master Plan for the 21st Century by Jose T. Pardo. Champion Business, Champion Consumers by Manuel A. Rojas II. 5S Strategy by Cesar Purisima. Back to Basics by Juan B. Santos. Breaking Barriers by Peter B. Fabila. Consumer is King by Jesly A. Lapus. Enabling Business, Empowering Consumers by Gregory L. Domingo. Full Speed Ahead by Adrian S. Cristobal Jr. Trabajo, Negosyo, Consumer by Ramon M. Lopez. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a summary of DTI's past 4 decades. And this day, like all those prior, will be included in our archives. It is a day of movement, of coming and going, of both continuity and change. It is a day when we learn of what else can we build with what we have already built. It is a day where we are reminded that impermanence is a part of a healthy and vibrant democracy, that we can still cherish the accolades and legacy of the past, yet embrace the promise and opportunities that come with the next. And so today, my dear civil servants, I'm humbled and honored to welcome you all to the forefront of history, to the ceremonial turnover of the Department of Trade and Industry from one good man to another. From Secretary Ramon M. Lopez, whom we know are in our fold as SecMon, to Secretary Alfredo E. Pascual, who we will know as SecFred. From SRML to SAEP, from the 15th to the 16th Secretary of Trade and Industry since 1981. Maraming salamat at mabuhay ang kagawaran ng kalakalan at industriya ng Pilipinas.
Thank you very much, Yusek Boy, for that inspiring welcome message.
Now we will hear from the man who steered the Department of Trade and Industry through calm and stormy waters, the only Trade Secretary who experienced a global pandemic.
He is a man of integrity, competence, and energy, whose face lights up every time he says he hears the word MSMEs.
Here to give the DTI family a few words of gratitude and to present the next DTI Secretary, let us all welcome Secretary Ramon M. Lopez.
Maraming salamat. Hello. Thank you. Thank you very much. Magandang hapon po. Maraming salamat po sa mainit ninyong pagtanggap. Pero bago ako magsimula, kailangan ipakita natin ang pinakamainit na pagtanggap sa ating incoming Secretary of Trade and Industry, Secretary Fred Pascual. Ganyan po kainit ang pag-welcome sa inyo, Secretary Fred. Dahil po, they all believe that you will be ready to steer the Department of Trade and Industry in the next 6 years. Kung sinabi kanina, from one good man to another, actually sasabihin ko sa inyo, from one good man to a better man. Palakpakan natin si Sec Fred. Hindi ako nang bobola dito. May basis po yun. Dahil si Sec Fred, of course we all know his background by now. Long years, many years of as a professional, top executive of the Asian Development Bank, background on finance and many other fields in business, economic development. Secretary Fred, of course, as we know, also became the president of the University of the Philippines, pinakamagaling na universidad sa Pilipinas, UP5, sorry. Joke only, joke. May halong totoo rin yun. Okay. At of course, the president of the Management Association of the Philippines na I heard you recently resigned obviously for this purpose of service to the country. Pero ang pinaka-importante sa lahat, kaya ako sinasabing from one good man to a better man. Kung ako good, ako'y tumatanggap lang ng communion kay Secretary Fred pagka nasa Christ the King kami. So, siya po ang talagang tagabigay ng communion. So, mas holy at mas magaling si Sec Fred. Palakpakan natin si Sec Fred. But, of course, I'd like to just say at this point, marami tayong pagkakataon na na-address ko po kayo in the recent days. For that, I'm very grateful for the time, the efforts you've really put in organizing the send-off events. Excited na kayong paalisin ako with those many send-offs. But really, I'm just here to give you thanks. Malaking pasasalamat for the past 6 years. I always say this is the best 6 years in my career. No, exactly. Totoo po yan. The best, because this is the past 6 years that really I felt a lot of fulfillment, meaningful service, lalo na nakakapag-serbisyo tayo sa tao. Sec Fred, I'm happy to say that you will be backed up by very professional, ICE, organization with integrity, organization with competence, and organization with energy. Ang mantra po dito, serbisyong higit pa sa inaasahan. At yun po, dinidibdib po natin lahat. And I'm sure, kung tayo galing sa private sector, pareho tayong galing sa private sector, yung iba rin po dito galing sa private sector, you can see and you can feel that among all government agencies, dito ma-feel natin that the character, the tenacity, the passion of people in the private sector, they are also present in the Department of Trade and Industry. And of course, the ICE provides the background, basically, but you can have a sense of complete staff work and substantive inputs from our, what we invited or who we invited here are the executive committee. It will be a bigger group, and for crowd control, we limited it to the ExCom and the heads of the attached agencies. But I guess on the virtual, on Zoom, all the other officials, the directors of these different organizations. And what we can say really, and I personally have experienced that, yung full support, competent support, and again, that support based on the foundation of integrity, competence, and energy and enthusiasm. At this point, this is not about me anymore. I'm here just to say thank you, but I'm really very, it is a pleasure, an honor to be handing over the leadership of the Department of Trade and Industry to a very respectable, sabi nga natin kanina, competent, a man with ICE also, na nasabi ko in another forum. At I'm just happy to, when I heard that Secretary Fred was appointed, was announced by President BBM, talaga pong ako'y nasiyahan dahil naniniwala ako na talagang mas hihigitan pa niya ang mga nagawa ng Department of Trade and Industry. And for that, Sec Fred, I give you also my full commitment to make you a successful DTI Secretary, even coming from the private sector. And I'm very sure the team that we have here will make sure that you will become very, very successful as DTI. You have our full support at gagawin natin ang lahat para maging matagumpay dahil your success will be the success of not the trade and industry sector and not only the DTI but the whole country. And only that will, this will bring more prosperity, more jobs, trabaho, negosyo, and consumer protection na talagang madadala ang kasaganahan sa buhay ng lahat ng mga Pilipino. And for that, we will be and I will be one with you on that journey, Secretary Fred. I give this commitment. And so with that, I look forward to later on handing over the leadership of DTI sa inyo po, Secretary Fred. Congratulations. May God be with you. Salamat po.
Thank you, Sec Mon, for that wonderful message. May we request Secretary Mon Lopez and Secretary Pascual po to please join us on stage for the turnover rights.
The DTI flag contains the DTI logo, which represents the vision and values of the Department of Trade and Industry.
It symbolizes the turnover of the department's resources, human or material, to fulfill the duties of the DTI Secretary.
It also represents all the programs and projects of the department, which will now be under the jurisdiction of our next Secretary.
So, Secretary, it's an honor
Along with the flag,
all the best.
Along with the flag are the DTI's transition report, legacy book, and photo book that will enable the incoming secretary to hit the ground running.
Thank you very much, Sec. I think I speak on behalf of the department when I say thank you very much for taking care of the DTI over the past 6 years. Now, our dear DTI family, to deliver his acceptance speech, let us all give a warm welcome to our new Secretary of Trade and Industry, Secretary Alfredo E. Pascual. Secretary, very soon.
Thank you. Isang mapagpalayang araw sa inyong lahat. Binabati ko si Secretary Ramon Lopez, sa mga opisyal ng DTI at mga kasaping ahensya at organisasyon nito. Binabati ko rin ang lahat ng dumalo dito sa DTI turnover ceremony ngayong hapon. First and foremost, let me thank President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. for nominating me to be the DTI Secretary in his cabinet. I genuinely appreciate his trust and confidence. It is an honor and privilege for me to be allowed to serve our country, particularly in this time of pandemic recovery and new emerging uncertainties. In the face of the challenges before us, we in the DTI will meet in the coming years. I can say that I am fortunate to be inheriting from my predecessor, DTI Secretary Ramon Lopez, a sterling legacy. This legacy comprises a solid and well-performing organization consisting of all the colleagues here and not here, and a rich performance and success record. I thank Secmon and his team for leaving us a DTI with 6 years of enduring commitment to innovation, hard work, and growth for the benefit of our people. And I can see also the build-up that has led to where we are now, coming from the successions of former DTI secretaries as presented earlier. Even after 2 years, the threat of COVID-19 lingers and continues to impact lives and livelihoods, not only in the Philippines, but the whole world. At the same time, new crises have jumped into the fray. War in Ukraine and its attendant effects on global trade has sent soaring the cost of necessities everywhere. This has nudged our disadvantaged countrymen and struggling businesses further into economic insecurity. Much reform has already been done towards creating an enabling environment for business in our country. As the numbers show, the Philippines has been remarkable in growing despite the devastation of the pandemic. But our country continues to contend with increasingly stiff competition from our neighbors, while novel technologies are changing the global market dynamics. We need to see even more improvements in our human capital development, technology capability, infrastructure, and regulatory and legal environment. We need solutions that will bring sweeping changes to our economy and take it to an even higher level of performance. DTI has been doing its part. How can DTI further help in this effort? Let me now talk about some of my priority plans to fulfill the primary mandates of DTI in creating jobs, supporting businesses, and protecting the consumers. This is not the final strategy that we will adopt. These are just my initial thoughts given the knowledge, level of knowledge that I have acquired over the past few days that I have been briefed about DTI. Number one, support for micro, small, and medium enterprises or MSMEs. In times of hardship like now, the DTI's mandates have become even more critical to our collective nation-building effort. We carry an immense responsibility on our shoulders, defined in numbers by 99.5% of business establishments in the Philippines, employing 63% of the country's workforce and accounting for almost half of the nation's gross domestic product. I'm referring to the small businesses sector. My plan is for DTI to continue promoting the development of our small businesses or MSMEs, the backbone of our economy, as DTI has been doing for over the past decades. Standing alone and standing still, our small businesses will find it difficult to develop and become sustainable. We want our small businesses to be driven by science, technology, and innovation to meet changing market demands for quality and new products with effect. We want them to embrace digital transformation so that they can improve operating efficiency, reduce costs, and earn profits even as they make their products more affordable to consumers. Our objective is to enable small businesses to grow and graduate from micro to small, from small to medium, from medium to large. We want to integrate them into the domestic and global value chains so that they can become formidable players in the domestic and global economy. To help address the food security challenges, we will collaborate with the Department of Agriculture to improve the food value chains through upgraded transport and logistics facilities, including cold storage and cold chain facilities, increase community-level value-adding, effective local government-enabled market matching, and mechanisms for food waste reduction. We will promote digital technology to assist in streamlining agricultural supply chains to link producers more directly to their markets and eliminate unnecessary middlemen. I'm discussing this in the context also of MSMEs because most of the enterprises involved in agribusiness are of that size. Well, of course, there are also large ones, but we are more concerned with the many that are in small businesses. We will also pursue urban food production and support small businesses involved in supply chains. We will also promote the development of local industries that directly impact the country's food security. DTI will assist the Department of Agriculture in strengthening cooperatives to achieve economies of scale even in those modest farm sizes. Particular focus will be given to coconut, coffee, and cacao producers, to which substantial funding has been devoted. Aside from promoting food production, developing regional industries is also a priority. I would like us to continue the One Town, One Product, and Shared Service Facility programs where we directly invest in the upgrading of MSMEs' technological capabilities. We also aim to further bridge SUCs, the state universities and colleges, to local entrepreneurs towards improving the global competitiveness and promising industry clusters. Our country can be competitive, but we have to do it region by region. Otherwise, if we will just be focusing on the national capital region, there will be a lot of laggards around us. So everyone and no one should be left, everyone should progress and no one should be left behind. Second priority, to promote manufacturing. Manufacturing is our guarantee of sustainable and inclusive growth for our country because manufacturing provides more stable and more higher paying jobs. Manufacturing will remain a priority under my watch. We in DTI will take the lead in positioning for success in the manufacturing sectors in which we possess strategic advantages. We will update and craft industry roadmaps in key industries and sectors with the most significant strategic importance and/or potential for massive job generation, including tourism, creative industries, agriculture and agribusiness, forestry, manufacturing, construction, possible mining, BPO, and MSMEs, among others. We will continue implementing DTI's Manufacturing Resurgence Program, which aims to develop a globally competitive manufacturing industry. We will introduce improvements as the domestic and global circumstances evolve with technology disruptions and with changing geopolitical situation. We will work to close supply chain gaps, provide access to raw materials, and expand domestic and export markets for Philippine manufactured products. We will also seek to build agriculture-based manufacturing industries that generate employment and support smallholder farmers and agri-cooperatives through product development, value-adding, and integration with big enterprises for marketing and financing purposes. We will focus on key industries such as electronics, aerospace, automotive, IT, BPM, and minerals like copper. We will look at global value chains specifically in electronic vehicles and mineral processing. In this regard, we will seriously consider the findings of a recent World Bank study that indicates potential in the country of industrial sectors in the following three clusters. One, industrial manufacturing and transport. Two, technology, media and telecommunication. And three, health and life sciences. One particular DTI program currently is the Comprehensive Automotive Resurgence Strategy, or CARS program, which provides time-bound and output or performance-based fiscal support to attract strategic investment in motor vehicles and parts manufacturing. Our objective is to increase the local value added and export contributions to the economy of our automotive industry. And why not? A significant portion of the country's over 10 million four-wheel and two- or three-wheel units will need to be replaced over the next 10 years or so. That provides a large enough market for domestic production of vehicles, motorcycles, parts, and services. In the pharmaceutical sector, another example I'd like to highlight, we will also encourage multinational pharmaceutical companies operating domestically to outsource their contract manufacturing to local players. We will also continue to develop the country into a center of excellence in the design of semiconductors. With regard to semiconductors, I'd like to say that the pandemic has increased interest in data centers across the globe, and the Philippines is no exception as a destination of the new data centers that are being established worldwide. The local data center market saw significant activity beginning last year, with several players announcing their plans to develop facilities across the country. The Philippines is an attractive location for hyperscalers as the country taps social media and internet usage worldwide. I think some of you are still on your social media accounts while listening to this presentation on hyperscalers. Our e-commerce adoption grew by 76% and 80% in 2020 and 2021 respectively. Very substantial increase in volume. The Philippines is seeking to address disruptions in the supply of critical minerals. Note that the Philippines has a vast resources of green metals such as nickel and cobalt, key inputs for battery manufacturing, and copper, an essential input for the production and manufacture of technology products. The Philippines can be a vital partner for these critical minerals, not only as exporters of minerals, but as processors and producers of semi-finished and finished products. Third priority, improve the ease of doing business. We will work towards the reduction of regulatory burdens by expanding the Ease of Doing Business Act. In coordination with the Department of ICT, we will support accelerating the fulfillment of e-government in our country. We will also aim to foster greater investment and competition in logistics and connectivity services. We will continue to work on harmonizing cross-border data regulations and with key trading partners to facilitate better ease of doing business. We will also push for full implementation of policies already in place to inspire confidence in both firms and consumers, whether based here or abroad. DTI will help solve the country's infrastructure gap as well, especially in physical and digital connectivity. Responding to these deficiencies will help secure our country's access to a competitive and clean energy supply, as well as really show us as having improved the ease of doing business in our country. Fourth priority, attract investments and expand exports. We will continue to push for the immediate ratification of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or RCEP, and other trade agreements because, as you may know, the Philippines has the least number among the ASEAN countries that have signed FTAs with other countries, with foreign countries. These agreements will diversify the country's exports in terms of products and services and country destinations, and enhance the country's attractiveness to foreign investments. Most foreign investments in China, for instance, are export-oriented industries. In fact, they are from big multinationals having transferred their production facilities to China and using China as a production base. Without these FTAs, without RCEP, the Philippines will not be an attractive location for such types of export-oriented enterprises. Sixth priority, which is more inward-looking, we need to take a second look at DTI's organizational structure and processes because of changing conditions, changing sector priorities. There is now a very clear and definite shift to digital technology. So we need to really gear up our expertise to that particular area. As the country moves into its recovery and expansionary mode, we will do this review and see how we can contribute seamlessly and in the timely fashion to the implementation of the earlier initiatives I discussed. A tweaking of workforce budget may be needed. My approach to organization is I don't really believe too much in very hierarchical structure. Well, we are inheriting a government structure, a bureaucracy type structure where there are so many layers. You have secretary, you have the undersecretary, assistant secretaries, director, assistant director, and so on down the line. That creates a lot of layers. If you say, okay, you guys there down below, you communicate with me through channels. So before I get to know the problem, maybe it could have taken already days, if not weeks, through the bureaucratic mill. I want to know right away if there is a problem. My door is open for direct communication by anyone who has something important to share. Not gossip, but something that will really help advance what we're doing for the country. I believe in agile organizations. For those of you who have had training in agile organizations, you will know that an agile organization is a flat organization. There may be different ranks, but we organize as the problem presents itself, the problem that we need to solve. We should have flexibility in organizing teams, task force, and small groups to tackle problems regardless of the ranks. I may be the secretary most of the time. I'll be giving orders from behind, but there will be times, like a true general, I will be leading from the front. So we will have to work together in addressing problems as they evolve. And problems will crop up given the very volatile and uncertain situation that we still face, given the geopolitical developments around us. We will try to break down silos between departments and between DTI and the attached agencies and GOCCs, because that's the only way we can fully harness the capabilities of our people to address problems that will come our way. Inter and intra-agency and department functions and relationship may need to be clarified and aligned to be able to have this flexibility in communication and the breaking down of silos. In closing, I invite you all to join me in reigniting the private sector businesses, which are the country's engines of growth. Run with me in resetting the momentum, not in a 100-meter dash, but in a sustained marathon of sorts, facing a multi-kilometer run challenge to rejuvenate the heart of the Philippine commerce and strengthen the muscle of industry, coming from the devastation of the 2-year pandemic and the other uncertainties we are facing. We will help businesses do well. We will help them make profits. And we will help businesses to do good, to share prosperity with our countrymen. Now we are going to work together. And in that regard, I say, we must succeed, not because we have a reputation to protect, but because we have a country to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Sec Fred, for that wonderful speech. I believe I am one with everyone in looking forward to your firm leadership and comprehensive vision for the department for the next 6 years.
I agree. And our colleagues watching us from the regional and provincial offices must have been very delighted to hear that the Sec Fed's first priority as MSME development.
Sec Fred, as a sign of their goodwill and ready cooperation, it is customary for the heads of the DTI functional groups to present their welcome gifts to the incoming DTI Secretary.
First is your DTI ID from the Management Services Group, headed by Undersecretary Reneo Boy Vismonte. Next are the DTI and Philippine flag pins from the Regional Operations Group, headed by Undersecretary Blesila Lantayona.
Next is your first DTI jacket from the Consumer Protection Group, headed by Undersecretary Ruth Castello. And of course, DTI value shirts from the Competitiveness and Innovation Group, headed by Undersecretary Rafaelita Aldaba.
Thank you, Sec Fida. Lastly, your DTI calling cards from the Trade Promotions Group, headed by its officer in charge, Assistant Secretary Rosly Gaitos. Yes, Secretary. Thank you very much po. We thank the Office of the Secretary, the Public Relations Unit, Knowledge Management and Information Service, the Planning and Management Service, Human Resource and Administrative Service, Information Systems Management Service, and the Board of Investments for making this event possible.
We also thank our officials who graced us with their presence in today's event and to everyone who witnessed it live via Zoom.
We request our officials who are in the venue to please remain for the photo ops. Now we request everyone to please rise as you sing our DTI hymn.
Busilak ang kanyang layunin, pagnapay ng gobyerno, tungo sa pagpapaunlad ng sambayanang Pilipino. Hindi alintana ang landas ng unos at pagsubok, bagkus para sa kapakanan ng nakararami. Umiiyayain siya ng gobyerno, tumutulong sa tao, pagsulong at tanging alay, benepisyo para sa lahat. Mag-wisnahin siya ng gobyerno, mapalawak sektor ng pamumuhunan, tungo sa pagpapaunlad ng negosyo at pangangalakan, pangat kasaganahan at tagumpay, ekonomiya ng bansa, lalo para sa kapakanan ng madlang mamimili. Hinihayahin siya ng gobyerno, tumutulong sa tao, pagsulong at tanging alay, benepisyo para sa lahat. Pagwisnahin siya ng gobyerno, mapalawas sektor ng pamumuhunan, tungo sa pagpapaunlad ng negosyo at pangangalakan, angat kasaganahan at tagumpay, ekonomiya ng bansa, lalo't para sa kapakanan ng madlang mamimili.
That ends the ceremonial turnover of the Department of Trade and Industry. Maraming salamat at mabuhay ang DTI.
Okay? Yes, sir.